Hello, I'm Laura and I'll be your host for this week's episode of Undercurrent. There is an abundance of cats left homeless each year, and with the numbers constantly on the rise, Taya Wicklin reports more on this ever-worrying situation.
I'm here at the Cat Haven today to explore this wonderful and unique charity organisation.
Hi, can you tell me a little bit about what work the Cat Haven does?
Yes, we're Western Australia's largest cat shelter and rehoming centre. We take in about 8,500 cats a year, which is a tremendous number and very, very difficult for us to deal with because we take in all cats, no matter whether they're old, sick, feral, and we'll try and find homes for all of them.
I imagine looking after all of those cats must burn through a considerable amount of money.
Yeah, it's very expensive when you take into account that every cat that comes in is health checked, sterilised, microchipped, treated for fleas and worms, and each one's given toys, food, water and any medical care that it needs. So yeah, it can range between $15 and $28 a day. It's hard to really to get the sums absolutely accurate on that, but it costs a fortune. And when we're full, when we've got 400 or 500 cats in here in the summer, it can be costing us $6,000 to $8,000 a day to run the shelter.
So what are you doing today?
We are in sort today and we're just processing all the new cats that are coming through Cat Haven today.
And so what do you do when a cat comes in to be processed?
And we see where it comes from, and that little one here is an honor surrender. So we're just checking its health. All our cats getting checked for microchip. If it was a stray and it is microchip, we can contact straight away the owner, so hopefully they can pick it up on the same day again.
And I've heard too that the Cat Haven has a very low euthanasia record.
We do, so it's been something that we've really been trying to work on the last few years. We're part of an initiative called Getting to Zero, which means we want to have the lowest euthanasia rate as possible. So that means we will treat a lot of cats that other shelters won't necessarily treat, cats with FIV, older cats that are 18 and above. Cats with ringworm, we actually adopt them out for free, which means we take on that cost, but it means that cat can be saved and we can find a nice home for it.
Yep, so this is Chance. He came into us last week with an injured foot. He was actually missing his whole foot and walking around on a stump. He came from the council and they think that he had that for at least a week and we think it was potentially gone off in a trap. So he was obviously in a lot of pain from that, so the vets on Friday had to remove the rest of his leg up to his shoulder. He had really tough skin, so we were unable to suture it, so they've had to staple it. He's a lot happier now.
So can you tell me a little bit about this cat?
Well, Jimothy came from a breeding and hoarding situation, so unfortunately he was, oh hey buddy, kept in the cage for about the first 7 years of his life, made to breed, poor thing. He then came to us, which is probably the best thing that ever happened to him, and got some surgery to fix his poor little eyes, and now he can see, and now he works at a women's refuge, giving lots of covers to people in need.
You both work as cat foster parents. I mean, can you tell me a little bit about that role?
So the fostering is for the cats that are here at the shelter that either have medical problems or just really need a break. They aren't getting adopted because they're too scared and too shy. So we take them into foster care and they flourish in their foster homes, and then most of them get adopted from there, or if it's medical then we wait until they get fixed and then they come back to us.
And how important are volunteers to the Cat Haven?
Oh, I think they're very important. I think they do a lot of work here. As you can see, there's a lot to do in the laundry, and if the volunteers didn't come in to do that, the poor little kitties would have no warm beds to sleep on.
Is there any other way to support the Cat Haven?
Yeah, we urgently need people to donate, so even if you can just do $5 a month, that would be really good. Regular donations is what we use to sort of like plan a budget for the upcoming kitten season, so it's really important we do get people to sign up to donate regularly.
If anybody's interested in donating to Cat Haven, volunteering, fostering a cat temporarily or adopting a cat permanently, please come down to Cat Haven in Shenton Park.
I'm Taya Wicklin reporting for Undercurrent.
This week, Innovate Australia held a conference about blockchain, cryptocurrency, smart contracts and distributed ledger technologies. Our reporter Bas Tadros was there to capture the event.
I'm here with JP at the Innovate Australia Summit on blockchain. JP, tell us about your talk today.
Well, I had the honor of presenting the kind of basics in the historical context, where we had disruption 1.0 web and now disruption 2.0 with blockchain and the related disruptive technologies.
And 1.0, you relate that to like playing a game on a computer where it's all text back in those days, or dial-up modems, if people can remember that. What's 2.0?
Well, 2.0 actually builds on the basis of the internet and the web. And now we have these multiple waves of technology arriving on our shores. Blockchain is leading them, but they also include things like artificial intelligence and robotics and drones and genetic modification. I mean, there's just so many disruptions occurring, but right now the one that's underpinning them, and it stands on the shoulders of the previous giants, Disruptive 2.0, is being led by the innovation of the blockchain.
Tell us a little bit about some of the knowledge that you shared on blockchain technology.
Yeah, so basically I was talking a bit about Web 3.0, how I've seen the evolution from the web that we had in the 90s, 1.0, to the explosion of the sharing economy and Web 2.0 that we have today, and how things are going to evolve thanks to blockchain, mainly into that really real peer-to-peer distributed internet.
I started about 2 years ago, which in blockchain years is about sort of somewhere between 12 and 18 years. It moves at such an extraordinary rate. So I first flew across to one of many conferences in Europe in probably the early part of last year, not far after I started the research. And I noticed what was happening at that time, which was so many ICOs coming onto the marketplace. And so it was the beginning of my learning.
What's the next Innovate Australia Summit going to be about?
Yeah, actually, next it will be very different. It's next one. It's on rare earths, so rare earth elements, so all metals. And the idea for that one is to, as a follow-up to our previous event in May, which was on advanced materials. So that one was we had governor coming and we had minister doing announcement on creation of lithium task force in Western Australia. So that one we're very happy. We're going to have Peter Klinken, our chief scientist of Western Australia, Professor Peter Klinken, and then we're going to have Senator Linda Reynolds as our MC at the event, and we'll get really good panel.
What is Liberty all about?
So Liberty is really, we call ourselves the workspace revolution. So we're really trying to provide an environment where businesses can excel and can flourish and can grow. And obviously innovation is a part of that. So we provide co-working space and private offices and conference and event space, like the one we've used today.
I came here with an idea, what is blockchain, from what I've learned like everyone else. And I've learned so much more. Actually, it changed my learning. So that was really interesting.
It's a very broad topic and there's so much learning on blockchain as it still continues to develop. Are you looking forward to the next Innovation Summit?
Oh, definitely, yes. In terms of Innovate Australia, you mean? Yeah, you have quite a few series of very interesting events and summits like next one is on material and rare earth, and that's also apply. But to go back again to blockchain, that would apply also on something around rare earth commercializing or the way that we do the supply chain, etc. So anything that I think of now, I'll see it from that angle of how that is going to affect our society.
How they interrelate for mining.
Exactly, how in mining or the society in general, commercial aspect, economic aspect, there's a lot that's going to change, and it's interesting to see or try to understand how it's going to change.
And what would be your message from Innovate Australia to viewers, perhaps even words of encouragement to attend the next Innovate Summit?
Look, I think come along. It's really interesting stuff. It's pitched at the level that all of us can understand and take something away. I've taken some notes and I'm going to benefit from immediately from the speakers. So come along to the next one. Next presentation, I think the summit's on rare earths, and I think it'll be really fantastic.
Up next, we have Celeste talking to the people of Perth about private school education versus public schooling.
We decided to take the streets and ask Western Australians what do they think about private school versus public school, the long-standing debate. So tell us, what are your thoughts on public school versus private school here in Western Australia?
I have 2 children. They go to a private school. I think it's much of a muchness, whatever suits you as parents. As long as the curriculum across all schools is the same, you do find that with different schools, some of the kids do more homework than other schools, which I find a bit strange. You talk obviously to other parents, but as long as it's whatever suits the parents, and I don't think there's much difference in either, and what suits your child as well.
Absolutely. And so your kids, being a dad who's sending their kids to private school, you're obviously making an investment in their education. How do you feel about parents that maybe can't afford to send their children to a private school?
That's an interesting question. How can I answer that? Somehow you may find ways to get them. Again, it's then again, I guess it can be hard for those people that unfortunately, if they don't go to a private school and they want to, and they have to send them to a school within their area, what school there's obviously can be that restriction on which public schools they can go to. So,
do you think there's a difference between private school and public school?
I feel like public schools are a bit more sort of relaxed about areas, whereas private schools are a bit more sort of hard. Uniform policies in private schools are a lot stricter compared to public schools, which sort of, I guess, makes people feel more formal, but at the same time it's sort of annoying in case.
I'm all about private school. I think the more money you can spend on your kids, the better they'll be when they grow up. Yep.
And so you don't feel that because private school is so expensive that you're leaving out certain children or certain young adults that can't afford it?
That's probably their parents' fault for not trying hard enough.
What are your thoughts on private school versus public school here in Western Australia?
I think we're pretty lucky that we do have very good quality public schools in general. In areas you can benefit from being in a private school, but in general we're pretty blessed, really.
Absolutely. So your kids go to private school or public school, or?
My daughter goes to a public school, and it's beautiful. She's getting a fantastic education. We're very lucky.
Don't change the station. We'll be back after this short break.